kind of more heavy duty.
Hi guys, it's me. I'm taking over the Takeover Tuesdays. Did you guess it? Sorry, Jeremy Shepard. There's only room for one Jeremy around here. So, yes, it's me. I'm going to be hosting the Takeover Tuesday, and we're going to have special guests throughout the weeks, week after week. We're going to have some of the staff members join me, and we're just going to spitball a little bit, have a little fun. Basically, do the anti-John sort of presentation because you guys see plenty of John. So, and we don't get to talking about mandolins enough. He always puts down mandolins. Half my students come in feeling very insulted because the week before John insulted the mandolin as an instrument, and us as a group of like-minded mandolin enthusiasts. So, is my mic not working?
May I speak, Jeremy?
Yes, please speak.
Your mic is working great. Actually, the people can hear me. Hello, people. This is our new
Guys,
setup.
the magic voice you're hearing is Hinckley.
It's me. There is also, as you can see, a comment on your screen. You guys can see some comments. Somebody said I'm still grieving over the departure of Jackson. So
Aren't
you guys
we all?
should be able to see that. I hope you know that this is just going forward. This is what our streams are going to kind of look like, and we'll tweak it from here. I just wanted to share that with them. Though.
Yes, these guys got some new technology. We've got a new live streamer that allows us to do the multi-camera stuff, but a little bit more freedom to it too, and audio should be better. We had a bad audio channel with our previous equipment, and they quit manufacturing it, so we couldn't get any replacement parts for it, and we were very sad. So now we got a new system. It looks like it's going to be cool. We're going to be able to do lives on TikTok and Instagram and have different camera angles on that eventually. So looking forward to that. And also it's going to allow us to go outdoors, which I would take you guys outdoors today, except it is rainy and miserable. But I do want to show you our new steps. Can you see those through the front door? Anybody that followed us when we got our remodel here at the shop, we were in love with everything except the guys that poured the concrete slab. It was kind of a first time for them. And they had all the rainwater sloping into the building, and we were getting blasted with water. And now we have this new, very cool step over there. And water actually goes away from the building, which is preferable in a rainstorm, not to have water coming in your front door. So that just got completed, and boy, guys, I think we did some live last time on Monday. We had a jackhammer out front of this thing, busting out the old slab, and that was the loudest thing ever. We had customers calling us. We're working here at the front counter, and it was so loud it was actually shaking our banjo wall. We do have those tone rights on there that vibrate your instrument for us. We didn't need them all week because the entire store was shaking, and all our instruments sound more open right now. So it's that was one good benefit of it.
In a way, it's a plus.
Yes. Guys, we got some the Blackface 415. This is the F-style 415 Eastman mandolin. I've mentioned this before. My first mandolin, or my first upgraded mandolin, when Dad finally thought I was practicing enough to buy me a good mandolin, I had a flat iron F festival model with the black top on it, and I was very excited. First time Lonesome River Band came out to Colorado. One of my big mandolin heroes, Dan Tominski, was also playing an identical mandolin, and he saw me playing mine, and I got to hang out with Dan Tominski backstage while he played our mandolins back and forth. So a really cool memory of the black-faced mandolin, so I like that a whole bunch. And listen to that thing, man. It's got some bark to it. A lot of history with the blackface. Gibson did a lot of their early mandolins were that way, and most of the time it's because they can use a wood that tonally is a great wood, but maybe has some blemishes in the wood grain in it that wouldn't look great with a clear finish on it. So they do a black top on there. Still getting a great one. The 415 is a mahogany back and sides, so a little bit different, more traditional early Gibson mandolins with those mahogany. Just to give you a little bit more of the mid-range punchiness to them. We hadn't had one of these in for a little while, so I'm pretty excited to see that. And I think we're out of those black cedar. No, we got one of the new. Was that the E2 OM? So that's their new black satin finished black top guitar. We sold, I think, 3 of those already. A couple of the dreadnoughts and one of the smaller body ones. So those are also a cool option. But I'll let John cover that on New Guitar Thursday. We're talking mandolins now, guys. I'm using my Picchini. So make sure, if you guys haven't got that, we're getting accused online. Hey, we're allowed to have products that we like, right? We're allowed to be fans of products. The Picchini, some people think is a gimmick. I was a little skeptical at first too, but I never had my blue chip on me. I always stuck it in the strings of my mandolin. And then when somebody would hand me their instrument, I'd be like, hey, can I borrow your pick? Now, I got my Picchini on my phone case. It's always with me, and I'm never without a blue chip pick anymore, so that's a good thing. Another thing we've been accused of being off on or claiming that it makes a difference, but it doesn't.
Nice.
If you guys haven't been to the YouTube channel to watch our review of the tone guards, I am a convert. I was with a lot of these guys that are on there saying, oh, gimmick, it's just somebody said we're selling pet rocks, which I took a little offense to because this is a little bit cooler than a pet rock. But actually, guys, first time I saw these, I saw a couple of mandolin players out there doing with them on their mandolin. I thought it was a bit of a gimmick, but once you put it on there, it just makes a huge difference. The problem is it's mostly in person that you can hear the difference. And the concept behind them, the back of the mandolin normally sitting against your belly. The older you get, the bigger the belly, so the more you kind of kill some of the tone because it's just not letting that back resonate and vibrate. The tone guard is a contraption that just slides onto just about any size mandolin. These side prongs are a little bit of a spring-loaded design, so they'll fit on any mandolin. And then it's basically keeping, you can see here, keeping the mandolin about a ½ inch off of your body, which it just makes a huge difference. The problem is miking it is somehow it's not really coming across the mics as well as we expect it to. In person, you can hear a huge difference. And everybody that's owned one, if you go on that YouTube video we did, anyone that's put one on their instrument says, wow, a huge difference. I couldn't believe how big a difference it makes. And it makes sense. We had some guys online saying, oh, the back doesn't make a difference. It's a stiffer wood. It doesn't vibrate. It doesn't make a difference. Try it out. If you are not completely convinced, send it back. We'll send you your money back. But I don't think anybody's going to try one of these out and not be a convert, including Chris Thiele, let's see, Ronnie McCurry, I believe Sam Bush has one on his. Just about every pro mandolin player out there is touring with one. Because another benefit of it, it keeps the mandolin off you so you're not sweating all the time and it feels more comfortable on stage. So I have one of the first designs back when Anton, who builds these, was welding them. So these are all going to be out of a CNC machine now or a water jet probably. Cut out of one piece of metal. It used to be he welded each one of these and then spray painted it. Mine is, all the spray paint is worn off of it. It's just a steel contraption with a lot of welding joints and not very attractive, but I still use it, and it's got to be about 15 years I've been using that. Hinckley, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, we got a couple of questions. Tex asked, Jeremy, when is your mandolin book coming out? Which is a good question.
Whew, boy, talk about stress. I got approached about a year ago now from Hal Leonard. Somebody gave Hal Leonard my information, said, hey, this guy might be good for writing a book. So they're doing a series on do-it-yourself mandolin. They've done the banjo, guitar, piano, a whole series of them. I got selected to do the mandolin version, and I've never written a book before. I have tabbed out a lot of things. In the lessons, I tab out mandolin solos every single day, and I've got a lot of them already converted digitally, basically as PDFs. I had to learn how to use a new software to convert it to actually printed out tablature, but then writing out a whole book from start to finish and making it make sense and go through a whole from beginner to intermediate is the plan behind the book. And it's taken some effort, a lot of late nights staying here, because I tried to write some at my house, and my kids do not let me sit by myself without them interfering and just pushing buttons on the keyboard. So if you find some errant text in there, that's probably my kids doing it, not my fault. But to answer your question, it is due tomorrow. I'm turning it in tomorrow to Hal Leonard. These guys it's going to have video content that goes with it. So when you buy a book from Hal Leonard, they have online a code that you'll get your online account, and you can listen to audio examples of all the tab that's in the book. And we also did video examples of a lot of the most important ones. And these guys have been editing those all together, and we've got it pretty much done. I'm going to send that over to Hal Leonard tomorrow, and then I'll get back and forth from them on things I need to update or fix. But I don't have a release date yet. I'm guessing it'll probably be about 2 months or so after they get it to get the actual book in print and out. But we're very excited about that, and I appreciate you asking about that. For my first attempt at writing a book, I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. Hinckley?
The next question. What blue chip pick do you use?
Okay, so I already said that Chris Thiele is a bit of an influence of mine, and this is the CT55. I figure if it works for Chris, it's probably a good option. But I was using about this gauge in a tortoiseshell. And we've talked about this. If you guys, again, if you haven't checked, we did a blind test on our favorite picks, and we decided, can you tell the difference between an inexpensive pick and a really expensive pick? And we threw in a blue chip pick, or a tortoiseshell pick as well. I was always at this like 1.3 to 1.5 millimeter in a tortoiseshell. The downside to tortoiseshell, great tone, couple downsides. One is it's an endangered species, so the only way you can get any shell anymore is stuff that was pre-convention. A lot of people will find like old jewelry cases and stuff like that and make picks out of them. And it just wears out so quick. Like I'll be playing with it. I'd start with a pick about this size, and then 6 months to 8 months later, after having to reshape it and refile it with a fingernail file, I pretty much got like a quarter or a dime that I'm using now for a pick. And then I'd start all over again when I find another one of them. A blue chip pick came out. I tried them out. I was a little skeptical at first that, you know, it can't be as good a tone. It's very close to as good a tone. We did some blind tests back and forth where someone would hand me a pick, and I'd pick out my favorite one. Most of the time I could pick out the tortoiseshell a little bit out of that, but these don't wear out. This one I've got, it's got to be about 4 years old. You can see a little wear on it right now, but golly, as much as I play 4 years and hardly any wear on that, it is a $40 to $45 pick, so investment. But again, you got a Picchini. That's the only thing you're gonna do. You're gonna lose it. You're not gonna wear it out. So Picchini, it's always in there with me, or I tuck it in the strings of the instrument. Also, I'm a big fan of the new tone slabs. The tone of those I actually prefer a little bit over the blue chip. I'm still just trying to debate whether they do take a little bit more maintenance to keep them buffed. They don't seem to wear out a ton, but they get a little scratchy sounding. So I keep switching back and forth between the two. And if you're willing to put a little time just buffing out the edges of that, I think the tone slab, tone-wise, is a very good option as well. Yes.
Can I plug a video real quick? Actually,
please do.
Actually, this weekend we have the tone slab.
Ooh, we did another blind challenge.
Yes.
Were we blindfolded on that one?
No, I don't think
I think we just played them back to back and then we gave our opinions.
But you just gave your opinions and you went pretty in depth on the blue chip pre-tone slab comparison. So that's pretty exciting.
There's a cool, I mean, we've talked about this at the shop. It's any hobby you get, there's some things that make the hobby a little bit more enjoyable. If it's photography, obviously you got lenses, you got different mounts. God, look at this gear right here, guys. Talk about hobbies. Check out this stuff. If you're a bike rider, you got different spokes you can put on your, or not spokes, but the pedals. You can do different pedals with different grips on them. You can do different seats. I went out and bought one of the odometers to see how far I'd ride and how fast, and I rarely used it, but I was like into it. You know, I really got into it. Same with golf. You're going to buy a $40 sleeve of balls that you're going to lose in the woods. With music, there's some really cool things that actually make it a little bit more enjoyable. Picks are one of them. And before blue chip, I think Wiegans were one of the most expensive at about $20 for a 3-pack. You know, I know a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, how can you spend that much? Obviously, tortoiseshell got very expensive because it was so rare. But I totally think it's worth investment. I've got maybe 2 or 3 of these, one with each of my mandolins, and it makes such a big difference in my playing. It's smooth, the way it glides off the strings, and just tone-wise, I just love the feel and sound of them. So it's somewhat of an investment, but it kind of makes it enjoyable. We've talked about this too with like capos, Elliott capos. Who's going to spend $250 on a capo? Well, it turns out a lot of people, because it's a kind of a one-time investment, and that thing stays on your guitar. John's had his about 32 years now. He got one when he was just a little tyke, and obviously that pays for itself. You've probably lost 4 or 5 less expensive capos that don't have the same fit and feel to them. And spent more money on that than you would one-time investment in one of those. So yes, it is an expensive pick. Do I think it's worth it? Absolutely. Same thing with the tone guards. Once you get that on there, it goes on all your, if you switch it back and forth between different mandolins. We did the test on guitar. It's a huge deal with the guitar. John always has one on his guitar, but then we'll go to a festival and John will play with it, and somebody says, oh man, I've been dying to get one of those. Can I take it? And he'll sell it to them and pocket all the money and then take another one out of the shop and not pay for it. So.
Then I don't have it.
I'm onto him.
I don't have it.
Guys, we got some good mandolins in here. 2 weeks ago, we got six Gibson mandolins just arrived at our door. We're down to 3 of the ones that arrived. We got 2 more of the F9s also. But man, we got a couple of F5G standards. So these aren't our custom models, but it was kind of on our order list. And in case you guys haven't been following, Gibson has changed things over with their new restructuring. They went through all their guitar lines, and mandolin was kind of the end of the list of things to focus on, but they are restructuring their mandolins. There's only going to be 2 models available next year, and the F5G is going to be one of them, but with changes. It's going to have a scooped, actually a bird's beak fretboard extension, so no more fretboard extension on that. It will have a radius fretboard. A lot of the we had on our custom F5G are going to become standard now. But these are probably the last 2. I don't know if the number of these on, because we put them probably early 2021. We're on our order list, and we finally are getting these. So I don't know that there will be any more. But check out that back, man. When I move that with the light, it's all like, it's like Tiger's Eye, the Rock Tiger's Eye. it just kind of catches different light the way you catch it there. But tone-wise too. So yeah, if you're a fan of the traditional F5G, this may be the last two models you could have access to, because they are changing the specs on those going forward. And I don't know when we're ever going to get those too, because they're retooling. And ooh, that's also beautiful. Look at that. One thing David Harvey told me is because they've limited it down to 2 models, a lot of this wood that would have been saved for some of their higher end mandolins, they're using up. They're going through those batches. Wow. I've talked about this before. I think David Harvey's doing some of the best mandolins Gibson's put out in at least the last 30 years or so. Excellent, just consistent mandolins. All of them sounding really good, built really well. And I'm looking forward to getting some of those new models in. We've got some on order, and some of it's going to be a surprise. But as soon as we get those in, we're going to give you guys a heads up. Another special, very top secret project we're doing with Gibson. I can't tell you guys about yet, but you're going to be excited. It's totally worth staying tuned for, because I am ecstatic about the plan. We also have one of the Bourgeois A-style mandolins in, the A5. Yes, this is the Bourgeois collaboration with Eastman. So it's a Bourgeois, Dana Bourgeois designed mandolin, all torrefied Adirondack spruce top, torrefied maple back and sides, torrefied neck. It's got the price tailpiece. James tailpiece. It has the Waverly Relic tuners. Just a new golden age tuners. A slightly wider nut width than you would get from a standard Eastman mandolin. Again, things that I definitely like, that Dana also said, if I could ever build a mandolin, here's what I'd want. And there may be plans in the future, once they really get tooled up with the new facility that they're going to be moving to build some USA mandolins. But Dana's like, why wait? Let's go ahead and build these and kind of prove the prototype. And everyone I've played has been great. So yes, this one is for sale. It's at $2,400. And I'm not sure when we're going to get more of these, but I know there is news that the F-style is. We have the prototype next door. We filmed some content with it. We're not allowed to release the content yet because they haven't released a release date for it. They were aiming for the NAMM show at the beginning of April to introduce the F-style. And man, I can tell you, it's a monster mandolin for the prototype. I can't wait to see the next 2 or 3 iterations of that.
Tex asked, is there any banjos or guitars that impressed you?
Banjo or guitars like in general?
That have come into the shop.
Okay, banjo, I am definitely unqualified to actually even speak about. Not because I don't enjoy banjo. John and Jason picked up the banjo and just started learning how to play it. I just haven't sat down with it, which I maybe could figure out some of the rolls because I do a lot of cross picking on mandolin. I just got to use 3 fingers instead of 1 pick. But the neck I'm totally unfamiliar with. So I am totally unqualified to give you any information or of my impressions of banjos. We all have been pretty big fans of the gold tone, was it my Bluegrass Heart? Bela Fleck model. Very cool banjo, and we had a lot of people in here trying it out and it sounded great. Just had a meeting with some of the folks over at Deering today. We're going to be doing some very cool collaborations with Deering banjos coming up. They're going to be at Merle Fest. We're going to have a booth side by side with them, and we're going to be announcing some cool collaboration with Deering. The Julia Bell is something that is just so cool, not just by the looks and aesthetic of it, but the sound of it. A long neck banjo, John Hartford inspired design and artwork. Allison Brown helped design that banjo. She was very instrumental in designing it. And then just really cool low. It's tuned actually to, I think, a low E chord, so open E. Very cool sounding banjo. So I'm a big fan of that one, but that's not going to be your standard banjo. That's kind of just a fun. I've seen some great players just use that for 3 or 4 songs during a set. It sounds so cool.
Somebody was asking about the Boucher with the burst, which should be in there.
All right.
We posted about that on Instagram today.
Is it this guy?
Yep.
Okay, the studio use. This one? All right, I'm gonna show my ignorance with guitars. I don't know a lot about it or how to play it, but it's punchy though. If somebody with my mandolin technique can make the guitar sound this good, it means a lot about the guitar. That's punchy. Hear that, Trent? I'll show you that sometime. That's killer. Do we have any specific questions on it, Hinckley? It comes with a pickup. I know that. No, I need to study up on the specs of our guitars a little bit more. I'm excited when the mandolins come in. I enjoy playing guitar, obviously. It's great. I'm not real comfortable playing it most of the time, so half of our filming schedule on Thursdays is me trying to learn the song so I can back John up. But we're so fortunate to have these awesome builders, Boucher, one of them. Just everyone we get in has been incredible. We never get a dud from these guys, which is obviously if you're a boutique builder, you're able to spend the time on them and not let them out the door if you're not happy with it. So we've talked to some of them that they'll string it up and it's kind of like giving birth to their baby. They don't actually know what they're getting until they finally put strings on it and hear it. And sometimes they're like, oh, we need to make some tweaks on this. And before they release it, they'll take strings off, go in and shave the bracing a little bit more and really get the tone where they're looking for. Hinckley.
Okay, mandolin question this time. What strings do you use on your versatile mandolin?
Good question, or I guess good question if you're actually interested. I've been using GHS's LSB 250s, which is a silk and bronze, and I got those. There's a little melancholy in it too. When I was a, I don't know, 12, 13-year-old brat walking around backstage in Colorado, it was a midwinter festival, and Doyle Lawson was backstage, and I said, gee, Mr. Lawson, what do you use for mandolin strings? And he reached in his case and threw me a set of them, and they were Doyle Lawson signature mandolin strings from GHS, which we can take you over there. They are the 40, the G string is 40, 36, 16, 11s, so medium gauge string. And what I like about them is they just give you a really warm woody tone. You can see we got a stack of these because these are the ones I recommend to my students. Give you a really deep woody tone, but they're going to be a bronze string with a very thin core. Right around the steel core is a wrap of silk on them, which takes a little of that brightness out of the string. Really gives you that woody, deep, choppy tone that I'm really looking for in a mandolin, that Adam Steffi style woody tone. I love those, especially if I'm in the studio. I'll go through those and I'll put a new set on every 2 or 3 songs just to keep them fresh. That is the only downside. If you really want them to sound new all the time, they go dead a little bit quicker, about like a standard bronze string. For lessons in here, because I'm playing every single day in there and not really as concerned about like studio type warmth tone, I've switched over to the XS's. XS's from D'Addario. It's their version of a coated string, so it's similar technology to what Elixir was doing, but a little bit more perfected by D'Addario. D'Addario, they don't seem to fray and shred as much as the Elixirs do. And the other downside I had with Elixir is they seem to kill the strings tone a little bit straight out of the box. It obviously stayed fresh sounding, but they already sounded a little bit dead to begin with. And they weren't doing anything to really coat the steel strings. So with mandolin, you got 2 A's and 2 E's that were not coated, so those ones would rust out. They were treated, but not really coated. These guys have a way of treating it the way they did for their XTs, which is a little bit better process, I think. So I've really been pretty pleasantly surprised by those as a coated string, and I've had them on there, I hate to admit, about 3.5, 4 months on my mandolin. I normally would change mandolin strings, well, when we're on the road, I'd change them about every week, just because we're out in the environment and they get sweaty and tarnished. So my recommendation, if you haven't tried the LSB 250s, I'm a big fan of those. They feel great and they have a really woody tone. Does that answer all our questions, Hinkley?
Are those GHS Doyle Lawson medium strings?
They used to be. They are medium gauge. They're no longer called the Doyle Lawson signature. GHS in general, I think, has done away with signature ones. They got the Bobby Osborne signature, and that's just a very light gauge set. I'll start a lot of students on that because it's a high. The low G string is a 38, 24, and then we got the 16 and 11, which is the same. Where this is a 40 and a 26, so very equivalent to the EJ74s. So a medium gauge set, yes, but they're no longer called the Doyle Lawson signature. But very nice. They are the same strings, just they don't say Doyle Lawson on them anymore.
I think we're probably ready to wrap it up.
Yay! All right, guys, thank you for being with me for my first Takeover Tuesday. I'm going to be taking over every Tuesday, and I'm going to have special guests. We've got a great crew here at the shop, and I want them to join me so that we can answer your questions, and you can get to know everybody's personalities a little bit more. And I love that Hinkley now can talk on camera. That's very exciting.
Somewhat. Apparently, I have an echo. Is it still there, guys? I'll listen to it later. I have no idea.
It's new equipment. I think it's going to be a lot more consistent once we learn it. But we just got this stuff in last week, and then these guys have been taking crash courses, learning how to use it. But I think for these live streams, it's going to be very cool. Technology's come a long way. We bought those Sling Studios pre-pandemic, which was great during the pandemic. We did all those live stream performances with that. We actually used it to film some of the TV stuff early on, but this allows us, again, to be mobile. We can move around. We can do outdoor stuff a lot better. It's going to be a very cool piece of technology. We just got to learn how to use it. Or these guys got to. I don't even know how to do any of this. I'm not even going to attempt to. I'm just a pretty face. That's never been said. Anyway, thank you guys for being part of Takeover Tuesday. I am Jeremy at the Acoustic Shop Stay. Tomorrow we're going to be doing our live stream at noon, which is Shop Talk. If you guys haven't tuned in for that, it's live on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and we're going to try this tomorrow with this equipment. Hopefully. Twitch, and yes, be sure and tune in for that. It's basically me, John, and Jason play songs. We do requests. We'll do a lot of songs we definitely don't know how to do and shouldn't be doing, but we have no pride. So we'll do whatever you guys request of us, and we'll talk a bunch. So if you're on there and say, quit talking, play more music, you're on the wrong channel. There's probably somebody that you can just tune into some kind of live music all day long with no talking. We're going to talk because it's called Shop Talk, and we're going to talk about things that you guys are interested in, and a lot of things you're probably not interested in because it's our time, right? And Hinkley, you're going to host that as well?
I do host it.
Yes.
Yes.
And we'll actually see Hinkley. Trent, he gets to run the cameras and help answer questions when we don't know the answer to them. So be there. That'll be at noon Central Standard Time tomorrow. And then Thursday, John's going to be doing the New Guitar Thursday. And we got a lot of stuff coming up next month. So, guys, it's going to be a busy, busy April. So be a part of that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Well, you guys take care, and we'll see you tomorrow.